Welcome to Big League Perspective. I'm Billy Pinckney, author of Passion Prevails. And on this week's episode, we have a great episode that's a little bit different than usual. Normally, we have a guest on here going through some of the perspective points and different ways that you can overcome adversity. But this week, I actually visited my former middle school and had a great conversation with the kids. The kids who are involved with sports and the guys who want to work in this industry potentially one day, and we had a lot of great discussions with them. So I definitely want to show some of that and show you guys some excerpts of that chat with the kids. So let's get right to it. We had a great time over there, and I definitely want to show you guys some of that because I feel like there's definitely a lot of value there. So here it is, the chat with the kids from Little Falls School number 1. So fast forward, after being a Batboy, I decided to get involved with sports media, and then I was working with the Jackals doing content, and I took that opportunity, I took advantage of that because they actually installed a video board there for the first time in 2018. They needed somebody to create content for it. I was there, right place, right time, and said, hey, I can do it, right? You take advantage of those opportunities, and you have to create that. You can't just sit back and think that they're just gonna come to me, right? Opportunities are just going to fall in my lap and things are just going to happen. You have to go and manufacture that sometimes. And luckily, I was in the right place at the right time, loved the game of baseball, was into video production, content creation, and it worked out really well. I was helping the manager find players for the team. We won a championship a couple years after that, and then that's when I ultimately wrote the book once I left the team. And now I have a podcast creating different interviews with different players and people like that. But this is it's a product of all the work throughout the years. This stuff does not happen overnight. All right, there's a lot of failure, there's a lot of challenges and struggles that you won't really see if you're just looking on my social media page and you're scrolling, right? You see the pictures of me interviewing guys or out in Dubai. I went to Dubai and interviewed a lot of players. Albert Pujols, you guys know Didi Gregorius, played for the Yankees, Robinson Cano, cool guys. I was with them out there in a different continent. But what I don't post as much about, which I really should post more about, are the behind the scenes moments where you're just at your desk and trying to figure out what do I do next. You know, it's not fun. A lot of this stuff is hard, right? It's hard to excel. It's hard to do something at a high level, but it's worth it, right? It's when you know you're having when you have a deeper purpose and you know you can have an impact, it's worth doing. Nothing worth doing is easy. There are a lot of things you have to put into it, and that's what you have to do. You have to know inside of you, in your mind, in your heart, that what I'm doing, what I'm focusing on, is going to have a deeper impact and mean something. It's not all about the money. It's not all about the flashy things, right? That's what society wants you guys to think, but that's not really it. It's how you can have a deeper impact and just really, help people out along the way, be a good person. So those are some of the things I've learned throughout the years, and I'm sure we could go even deeper into any of that stuff if you have any questions.
For sure. I mean, something that you mentioned earlier when we were having the conversation is that the path isn't a straight line, right? He doesn't wake up and say, well, today's going to be better than yesterday, and the day after that's going to be better than today. There's ups and there's downs, and that's part of life as well. And he mentioned that he shows on his social media the good stuff, the interviews, meeting Albert Pujols, going to Dubai, covering this, covering that. But what you don't see from Billy is the hard work. You're not seeing him editing film up until like the thousandth place in terms of seconds because he needs everything to be so perfect and so pristine. What you're not seeing is him struggling to figure out what's my next story going to be. How do I get in contact with someone for an interview? What people put on their social media is what they want you to see. When you guys are scrolling through social media, okay, you are seeing the best version of that person. You are seeing their content that is perfectly curated. You're not seeing the struggle. So if you don't mind just talking a little bit about some of the behind the scenes, the work that you put in, because I know even when they were coming in, you're setting up your own tripod, you're setting up your own mic, you're doing your own mic check. There's a point in your life, if you can make it big enough, where people do that for you. There's an assistant that comes over, they do that. But where you're at right now, you are everything. So what does that look like to them? Because I know there's some people in here that might want to do like content creation and stuff like that.
It's a one-man show for a while, guys. You have to be able to take advantage of the resources that you have. Obviously, you have great teachers around you and family and people who you can lean on and they can help you. But even YouTube, looking at videos and trying to find ways to improve. But you have to take responsibility for it and figure out a way to make the most of the situation you're in. I don't have a whole crew with me or anything like that. And I still have found ways to record the content, make sure it's looking good, sounding right. I'm editing it. I'm sitting on my desk most days for a long period of time, just behind the computer screen. It doesn't look fun, right? Sometimes you're doing that and you're thinking, man, I'm tired, right? I'm getting drained right now. But that's what it takes in order to one day be in the position where you have more people around you, a crew helping you out. And that's part of the process. But everyone always sees the end product. We got to talk about the challenges that it takes to get there and what you have to do in order to get to that level. And that's this right here, is putting in the work, you're practicing. Take these classes as an opportunity for development. You're developing right now. And I still think I'm developing. I don't think I'll ever not think of myself as developing. The learning only continues. I just graduated from school in January from college in Montclair State, but my education isn't over. Even though I'm not pursuing another degree right now, I'm still learning each day. I'm still trying to find new information that can help me improve and get better. And like I said before, I would never have thought in your position that I would be writing a book when I was your age. But that's just what happens when you work hard at something, you go ahead and you take advantage of opportunities you have, and then things just happen. And something I like to say is that a lot of times when you're younger, you're trying to fit in, right? You're trying to fit in. You want to be the cool guy, right? You want to be popular. None of that stuff means anything, okay? I was not the popular guy in school. I was just a regular kid who just liked baseball. But you work at something, you do the unpopular things that no one else is willing to do. You stay in your house on a Friday and Saturday night grinding at something like I did in high school when everyone else was going out, right? And they hang out with their friends or partying or whatever they're doing. Billy was in his house editing behind a computer. That wasn't popular. But what comes from that are then opportunities later on that no one else can have because of that work that you put in. So when I was in Dubai working with Big League All-Stars, other kids who decided to do other things that weren't productive throughout their weekends, they were home trying to figure out what they were going to do with their life, right? There's sacrifices involved with this. It's not easy, but if you know it's what you're meant to do, it's worth it.
Yeah, the sacrifice piece is immense.
Yeah.
Because people are seeing the end product and they're like, oh, I want to be like Billy. I want to have so many followers on TikTok or Instagram. And they're thinking, why not me? Why him? But they're not seeing those Friday and Saturday night grinds in high school and college and things like that. So if that's something that you want to do and that's something I know Billy wanted to do, that's the type of work. And now, could you talk a little bit about the sacrifices, not just only you made, but how about your friends that have held that camera for you or the microphone, your parents that have we take a lot, especially at this age, we take a lot for granted with the people that surround us.
No, I'm so fortunate for my parents because they were my first cameramen, really. And going to different games or different events, they would hold the phone. I tell them, don't shake the phone. I can't have a shaky video, but they'd hold it and I'd interview somebody and they were just there to take me to events, drive me places. And you have to be appreciative of your family or whoever it is around you, siblings who are there to help you and want to see you succeed. You can't take that for granted because they play a pretty important role in your development. This is a long game we're playing, right? We're not trying to just make this happen overnight and for this to all of a sudden click right away and you're a celebrity all of a sudden, right? We're not playing that game. We're playing the long game. How can I have an impact over a long period of time? Who can I impact around me in a positive way? being kind is cool, guys. That's a good thing, right? Being nice to somebody and doing something you love and appreciating the people around you who are supporting you in that journey. So I'd say definitely the people around you, they're making sacrifices for you too. But you find some good people who are willing to help you. You have teachers like Mr. Plateroti here who want to see you succeed, especially with this industry and his knowledge with it. Take advantage of it. You have great resources and you want to learn. You want to learn and continue to grow and make sure you lean on them. Of players who I worked with who ended up making it to the big leagues, but you see common themes with those guys. You see the dedication they had. They were so focused on making it to the next level. They weren't out partying every night with the players. They were out doing their thing, and they were convinced that they would make it one day. I know one of the players, his name is Robert Stock, played for the Mets, played for the Padres, a few other teams, and he told our manager when he came here, he said, I'm going to play in the big leagues one day. And whether anyone wanted to believe him or not, it happened. It happened. A few years later, it happened. You have to have that belief in yourself, and that if you believe it's what you're meant to do, then you got to go for it. And another guy, Fernando Cruz, played here in 2016, is now on the Reds. And he's been a solid relief pitcher for the Reds for the past couple of years. It happens. And then when I'm able to go to Yankee Stadium or Citi Field and see them in person and give them a hug, you can't beat that. That's something that really has inspired me throughout the years, because I've seen firsthand guys struggle at one of the lower levels of baseball, eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches every single day, and then ultimately they're getting steak dinners at Yankee Stadium because they treat them like kings. That's what it takes, but they're the same guy, right? They didn't change. They still were kind to me. They were still good to the people around them because they remember where they came from. And that's definitely something that has stuck with me. You learn from those experiences and from the people who have inspired you.
But there's a lot of struggle.
Yep.
And there's a lot of sacrifice. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, I feel like there's not a lot of perseverance within a lot of people, which is why ultimately they don't get there. So I'd like everyone to give a nice round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. There we go. Thank you. Thank you. A lot of good stuff there. It was really a fun time heading over to my former middle school, seeing some of my former teachers, and then being able to give back to the kids. And there were quite a few kids in there, and they definitely wanted to learn about the industry, what it takes, and how this stuff does not happen overnight. If you want to be an athlete, if you want to work in the sports industry, on the media side, on the business side, whatever it is, it's a grind sometimes. It's a grind. And obviously, in order to shine and be able to do flashy things, there's a price to pay. There's a lot that you have to go through in order to get to that level. There's a level of sacrifice there as well that many people aren't willing to pay. You have to give something up in order to achieve something. For me, as I said in that video, for me, it was a lot of time spent away from my friends growing up and doing things differently, not going out on the weekends, taking that time and dedicating it to editing, to researching, to trying to get better. Those are the things that it takes in order to level yourself up. And you have to make the decision if you are willing to do that. If you're willing to see on social media what your friends are doing tonight or the night before and not feel like you're missing out and that you should be there with them because you got something greater that you're working on. You've got something greater that you're meant to do, that you're called to do. So I'd really like to thank you guys for joining this episode, tuning in. And as always, we want to go over the 10 perspective points. And a few of them we showed in that video from the chat with the kids. First off, your identity is not in the sport that you play. Number 2, be faithful to God and His plan for you. Number 3, prove yourself right, not others wrong. Number 4, you were born with a purpose, allow it to be revealed to you. Number 5, your teammates will remember how you treated them. Number 6, learn from others' mistakes as if they were your own. Number 7, create your own approach if you want a different result than others. That was the main point throughout that whole conversation for sure. Number 8, live for each day, not the weekends. Number 9, create your own version of cool, because fitting in is what losers do. That was also another huge point today. And number 10, embrace your passion, because passion prevails. You're passionate about something, you have an interest in something, go all in. Find a way to create memories, to create opportunities, to create relationships that revolve around your passion. And great things will come from that, and you'll be willing to work harder on that passion as opposed to any other possible job that you can have, because you have a deeper connection with it. There's something inside of you that gets excited when you're working on it. So thank you guys for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Be sure to check out some of the past episodes if you haven't already. We've had some big league all-stars on here, guys who have had so much experience in baseball and football as well. Some of the episodes are football related, and we're really excited to see what the future holds for this show. And if you want to recommend to somebody who might benefit from it, we really appreciate that as well. And be sure to follow on social media at Billy the Batboy and at BL.perspective. Thank you guys so much, and we will see you next time here on the show.